Hello everyone, it is another Commander Spotlight, and today we are doing our Mono Green Commander deck. Wilson, Refined Grizzly, is at the helm, and we do choose a background. So this spell can be countered. It's got Vigilance, Reach, Trample, and Ward 2, and it's a 2/2 Bear Warrior. And the background we choose is Raised by Giants. Commander creatures you own have base and toughness 10/10 and are giants in addition to their other types. So this is a Voltron Commander deck, and the name of the deck is the Right to Bear Arms, because the point of this is to get Wilson out and equip him with as many equipment as auras as possible. However, it wouldn't be a bear deck without bears. So we have a Eula, who is an alternate commander. Whenever another bear enters the battlefield under your control, you either put 2 1/1 counters on a target bear, or it fights another target creature. So you got a Eula. We have a Shapeshifter, who's also a bear. If there are 3 or more creature cards in your graveyard, you gain 5 life when enters. Circle of the Moon Druid, who is a bear as long as it's your turn. This is a Guardian Shield Bearer. Get it? He's a bearer with Megamorph. You got Alpine Grizzly, Grizzly Bears, Runeclaw Bear. Of course, we got Bear Cub. Mother Bear, who, when you exile her from the graveyard, you can make 2 other bears. Ashhope Bear, Spectral Bears, Vivian's Grizzly, an Owlbear, a Universal Automaton, who is also a bear. Now, what kind of weapons do we give our bears? So, of course, we got Commander's Plate. It gives it hexproof, or protection from each color that's not my commander's color identity. So anything but green. And it gives a 3/3. You equip for 3 for the commander and 5 for anyone else. Galadrim Bow, it's a flash equipment. When it enters attached to the target creature you control, it untaps, and it gets +1/+2 in reach. So if your creatures are tapped, it's a great way to surprise your enemies. Another flasher, when it enters, you attach it to a target creature. If it's an assassin, it gains Death Touch. But it also gets a +1/+0 and First Strike. That First Strike is good. Mithril Coat, another way to protect your creatures. Indestructible, and when enters, attached to a target legendary creature you control. And the equipped creature has Indestructible. So another great way to protect Wilson. Sword of Wealth and Power gives a equipped creature protection from instant and sorceries. So again, these are ways to protect Wilson, because we need him on the field. Swiftfoot Boots, classic, give it hexproof and haste. I prefer this over Lightning Greaves, because Shroud prevents you from equipping your creature, so I prefer this over that. Bilbo's Ring, as long as it's your turn, it has hexproof and can't be blocked, because we are going to be attacking with our commander. Another way to give Wilson Ward. And since we are attacking, we need ways to help Wilson get through. Barrow Blade, when the equipped creature blocks or becomes blocked, that creature loses all abilities until end of turn. Better Way is with Lorien Brooch, which is a reskin of Trailblazer's Boots. Equipped creature has non-basic land walk, and non-basic lands are used a lot in Commander. We're attacking, so the Tanuki Transplanter's in here, because whenever an equipped creature attacks, you add an amount of green equal to its power, and since Wilson's equipped, that's going to be a lot of power. Sting. So Wilson does have Vigilance. However, there are ways to tap creatures. And what Sting does is at the beginning of each combat, you untap equipped creatures. So it's a way to make sure that your commander remains untapped. Rada Scythe. This is the way to make your Wilson big. When it enters, search your library for a land card, exile it, then shuffle your library. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each land on the battlefield with the same name as the exiled card. So this is a mono green, so there's going to be a lot of forest on the field. So you play this, exile a forest, and Wilson gets huge. And when Wilson does attack, using Argentum Armor and all of the mana that you have, you can use this to destroy a target permanent. And if you are generous, you can equip Wilson with an Assault Suit and give him to other opponents to swing with Wilson, because who doesn't want a giant bear on their side? On top of equipments, we have some enchantment auras. Bear Umbra, when it attacks, untap all lands you control, more mana. Boar Umbra gives it +3/+3. Both have totem armor. Animal Friend, whenever this creature attacks, create a 1/1 green squirrel creature token. Put a 1/1 counter on that token for each aura and equipment attached to this creature, other than Animal Friend. So Wilson attacks, and you make a big squirrel. Your commander is going to get destroyed, and that's why we have Fruit of the First Tree. When enchanted creature dies, you gain that much life and draw that many cards, where X is its toughness. We have another Umbra, Snake Umbra. This is card draw. When it deals damage to an opponent, combat damage, you draw a card. And let's say you want to kill their creatures, you use something like Lure. All creatures able to block enchanted creature do so, which is great if you have Trample and First Strike. Blanchwood Armor will give our Wilson +1/+1 for each forest, which we are going to have a lot of. This deck also has a small something of 1/1 counters to give to Wilson or any of your creatures. You got Concord with the Kami, which gives you 1/1 counters if they have counters. Draw a card if you have an enchanted creature, and you make a spirit if you have an equipped creature, which we are going to have. Roaring Earth. So this is in here not just because it gives 1/1 counters, but there's a bear in the picture. Ivy Lane Denizen. So this card right here, whenever a green creature enters, you put a 1/1 counter on a target creature. This is there just to spread 1/1 counters across your board. Kyrian Beastcaller. Again, whenever you cast a creature, you put a 1/1 counter on it, and when it dies, you distribute the 1/1 counters to any number of creatures. So, more counters for Wilson. Silk Guard, you put a 1/1 counter on each of up to X target creatures you control, or as equipment, and modify creatures you control gain hexproof. So this not only protects your commander, it also gives hexproof to all your auras and equipment, which is great. And the next one is Heroic Intervention. Permanents you control gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. So that's our protection for Wilson. That's not on the equipment. Now, we are going to go through a deck very fast, casting a lot of spells, because a lot of the cards are low cost. So we do need card draw. Garrett, Primal Hunter enters, you can -3 right away to draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. Season of Growth, since we are going to be enchanting Wilson, this gives us card draw whenever we cast a spell that targets a creature that we control. And then when a creature enters, we scry, so it helps us get what we want. Brass Herald's not really card draw, however, when it enters, you reveal the top 4 cards of your library. Put all creature cards of the chosen type into your hand and the rest on the bottom, and then creatures of the chosen type get +1/+1. So it enters, you choose bear. Fingers crossed, you get at least 3, maybe 2 bears in those 4, and you get that into your hand. We have some recursion. Eternal Witness will bring back a card from your graveyard. Rite of Renewal will return 2 target permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand, and then you can shuffle up to 4 target cards from either your graveyard into the library or have another player do so. And then Junk Troller, you bring back a card from your graveyard, put it on the bottom of your library. To cast all those, we're going to need mana. So we got Kalvori, God of Kinship. Now, this card's not in here for this side, it's in here for the back side, which is a mana rock. You choose a creature as it enters, and you tap, add green, spend this mana only to cast a creature spell of the chosen type or a legendary creature spell. So, or legendary, creature spell. So you use this, declare a bear, cast all your bears. Replicating Ring, I might replace this because you're never really going to end up with 8 counters on it. This is more for a proliferate deck, so I might replace this mana rock for something else. Cultivate brings you 2 basic lands, 1 to your hand, 1 to the battlefield. Collective Voyage, I always like to include at least 1 type of group huggish card. So starting with you, each player may pay any amount of mana. Each player searches his or her library for up to X basic land cards, where X is the total amount of mana paid this way, and you put them on the battlefield tap. So will it help you? Not as much as a deck that cares about landfall or specific lands. However, if you are hurting for mana, this is a great way to get more lands out. Case of the Locked Hothouse, you can play an additional land on each of your turns. It gets solved when you have 7 or more lands, and when it is solved, you may look at the top card of your library anytime and play lands and cast creatures and enchantment spells from the top of your library. So this is extra land drop and pseudo card draw because you can cast things from the top of your library. Yavimaya Elder, another way to find 2 basic lands from your library and draw a card. And then Gaia's Touch. You may put 1 additional land in play during each of your turns, but it has to be a basic force. You can sacrifice it to add 2 green. So this is another way to get more lands on the battlefield. So we got our way to get lands, some card draw recursion, all our bears, protection counters, we got our enchantments and our equipment. Now we do have a bit of removal. We have Boseiju, who can destroy a target artifact, enchantment, or non-basic land, or play it as a land. Azuri's Predation. For each creature your opponents control, create a 4/4 green beast creature token. Each of those beasts fights a different one of those creatures. So you make a bunch of tokens, you potentially clear the entire board, making room for Wilson. Beast Within, targeted removal, destroy target permanent. They make a 3/3 green beast. And Heritage Reclamation. Either destroy an artifact, an enchantment, or exile a card from a graveyard and draw a card. Not a lot of removal in here because our main removal is going to be our commander or creatures attacking. Excuse me. Our win condition is Wilson doing commander damage. However, if you do get a lot of creatures out, we do have Overwhelming Stampede. Until end of turn, creatures you control gain trample and get +X/+X, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. If you manage to get a big enough board and a big enough Wilson, this will definitely win you the game. There are a few cards in this deck that'll help, well, not necessarily won't help the deck, but they're in here because I do like them. We have Bearscape. Exile 2 cards from your graveyard to make a 2/2 green bear treasure token. It fits. It's bears, birthing bows. You pay 4 tap. You make 2/2 colorless shapeshifter creature token with changeling. Another way to make bears. And the last card that I want to talk about is, I find it hilarious. It is the Stuffed Bear. It's not a creature, however, you pay 2, and Stuffed Bear becomes a 4/4 green bear artifact creature until end of turn. So if this is on the field and there's a board wipe, it's not a creature. But when it comes to your turn, you pay 2 and you have a bear. And you can start equipping all things to it. So, which commander would you choose? Would you go with a Eula to helm the deck? Or would you stick with Wilson, who was raised by giants? Thank you for watching, and be sure to click the playlist for our other commander spotlights. And have a great day, and best of luck with your games.